All right, we have breaking news. Just a couple of hours ago, it was reported that P. Diddy has rejected a plea deal ahead of his S trafficking trial. Is he nuts? He has rejected the plea deal. Welcome to this episode of Bad Girls Talk. I'm your host, Wisdom's daughter, bringing you news straight from the headlines. All right, so Bad Girls Talk is trying to get to 10,000 subscribers. If you are watching and you have not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now. Hit it like you mean it. Make sure you hit the like button on the video. And remember, it doesn't cost you anything, but it's a great way to support the chat. And thank you in advance for your support. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with your boy P. Diddy, but I'm not sure if that was the move. All right. So once again, according to ABC News, Sean Diddy Combs has rejected a plea deal ahead of his S trafficking trial. He is also trying to claim that he's having mental health issues. First, Diddy didn't do it. Then Diddy did it because we saw the video and he apologized. Then mental health made him do it. Now he's rejecting the plea deal. He might have a mental health issue. He might really actually have a mental health issue.
Video showing Sean Diddy Combs kicking and dragging a former girlfriend will be allowed at his trial. That ruling from a judge in his sex trafficking and racketeering trial. The defense argues the video, which was first obtained by CNN, had been manipulated, but CNN denies that. Jury selection is scheduled to begin May 5th. Combs is accused of running a so-called criminal enterprise that allowed him to abuse victims for years. He has denied all the charges and has pleaded not guilty. A video.
Not only has he has entered his plea. He is pleading not guilty. He has rejected a plea deal, and so I'm not really sure where Diddy is supposed to go from here. I think I don't think his chances of going to a trial are going to be very good. I would say that I don't think the prognosis for him going to trial is very good. But let's take a look at this article. And so again, the government offered Diddy the ability to plead guilty and spare himself from the possibility of a prolonged prison sentence. Diddy said he's not interested. So I guess they asked him if he, understands what he is agreeing to. He said, "Yes, I do, Your Honor," which is what he said after Judge Aaron Subramanian asked him whether he rejected the offer the federal prosecutors made. And again, his response was, "Yes, I do." So Sean Combs, who is 55 now, is scheduled to stand trial beginning Monday with jury selection on charges of racketeering, conspiracy, S trafficking, and prostitution that allege he coerced women into prolonged S encounters that he called freak-offs. Maureen Comey, an assistant United States attorney, said a guilty plea would have reduced the amount of prison time Diddy got that he would be exposed to and compared to a trial conviction on all counts, which would result in what is effectively a life sentence. So specific details on the plea deal were not released. Diddy came to court in a beige jail uniform. He smiled and hugged his attorneys and gave a fist bump to one of them. That was someone named Tenny Garagos. Garagos raised concern during the brief conference about statements Los Angeles-based attorney Lisa Bloom, who represents at least two of Diddy's civil accusers, made about the case to a documentary. We're concerned with her behavior here, is what Garago said. Subramanian said that he would remind all counsel and witnesses to adhere to rules of professional conduct and court rules about potentially prejudicial statements that could infringe on Diddy's rights to a fair trial. Diddy was arrested last year after being charged in what can only be called a sprawling trafficking indictment, originally filed in September and followed by multiple superseding indictments that accuses Combs of being the ringleader of a criminal enterprise that allowed him to actually physically and emotionally and verbally abuse victims for years. Okay, many of us will not forget the Cassie video in which he dragged her, he kicked her. He threw a vase, at her. He hit her with a closed fist. It was horrible to watch. Diddy has denied all the allegations and has pleaded not guilty to charges of racketeering, conspiracy, trafficking, and transportation to engage in prostitution. All right. Just because you say you're not guilty doesn't mean you're not guilty, right? And just because you say you're not guilty doesn't mean you're going to get off. I don't know who's advising him, but y'all let me know in the comments. Do you think that Diddy should have taken the plea deal? And I may have to poll that. We need to talk about that. Should he have taken the deal? So again, his jury selection is going to begin on May 5th. All right. He has pleaded not guilty back in March to a superseding indictment that charged him with forcing one of his employees into S3X. Jury selection in the trial is it's going to start Monday with opening statements planned for May 12th. So federal prosecutors said that they have as many as 20 potential witnesses aside from 3 main alleged victims who could testify about Diddy's conduct. Diddy is facing decades in prison if he's convicted. Okay. Amidst his charges, again, the racketeering conspiracy, that's basically the RICO charges, carry that the RICO charge alone carries a maximum sentence of life in prison if convicted. Now, while the trafficking charges carry a mandatory minimum of 15 years in prison and as much as a life sentence. So if you ask me, Diddy is screwed all the way around. I don't see a good end for him. I think he should have taken the deal. I believe that he's going to do time either way. And this is exactly why he was not let out of jail, for fear that he might intimidate witnesses and that he might obstruct justice and prevent victims who would have testified from doing so. So yeah, again, you guys let me know down in the comments if you think that this was a smart move for Diddy. Should he have taken the deal? Should he have taken the deal? I'm not sure, but I find it funny that he's claiming mental health issues now. That's his new defense. Honestly, Diddy looks like he's insane. This picture is from the infamous apology video after the Cassie video came out. Because remember, Diddy vehemently denied doing anything to Cassie Ventura, claimed that she was trying to extort him for money, that she was lying, that she was looking for fame, and all these other things. Well, now it seems like he's trying to plead not guilty by insanity, because about 3 days ago, Radar Online reported that Diddy is claiming, or his team is claiming, that he's not in the right frame of mind. Well, we know that, but it's not because of mental health. It's probably because of all the drugs and alcohol and the IV drips and whatever the hell is in the baby oil. But he apparently, his legal team is to have a doctor testify that the disgraced rapper had an inability to control his behavior in order to save their client from decades behind bars. You know what that sounds like to me? It sounds like his legal team is throwing anything on the wall just to see what's going to stick, right? They're just, throwing spaghetti on the ceiling to see what's going to stick. They're doing anything that they can to save their client. This time, possibly having a doctor testify that Diddy was not in control of his behavior when his alleged crimes went down. So he's in control of his behavior when it comes time to launch his liquor brand. He's in control of his behavior when it came time to launch Sean John, his clothing line. He was in control of his behavior when it came time to do music videos and to broker deals and to produce music and find stars and run a reality TV show, which he probably was not exactly in his right frame of mind during that show. And I don't know why I can't think of the name of it, but it was the show where he was discovering band. I think it was called Making the Band, right? But that is because Diddy is a predator. That's what he has proven himself to be. There's too many allegations. It is so hard to read some of these legal documents because what is being described is absolutely horrible. We have seen Diddy touching on people, trying to kiss on people. We've seen him on the Breakfast Club, asking other rappers like, "When you gonna come party with me?" Like, you ain't really party with me. Like, what the hell does that mean? I mean, come on, we know what it means, but you know what I'm trying to say. We have seen him wear wigs and dance around. We've seen him, hooked up to an IV. An IV drip with him and his mom after, one of his alleged parties. So yeah, now he's claiming that the devil made him do it. That's ultimately what he was claiming. He was not in his right frame of mind. Can I tell you something? Just because you have a mental health condition does not mean that you're exonerated from committing any crimes. You have plenty of people who have mental health issues who are still well aware of right and wrong. Now, Diddy and his defense team, who again rejected an earlier plea deal today, are doing all that they can to try to keep Bad Boy's founder out of prison. Well, keep trying. According to court documents, prosecutors have filed their opposition to a line of testimony, which will focus on a doctor testifying on Combs's mental capacity to commit the alleged crimes. Well, doctor, I think you're forgetting about the fact that Diddy already apologized for his behavior, which means he was well aware that he did something wrong. The doctor, said to be a Columbia professor, is apparently lining up to testify. The "I'll be missing you" hitmaker had a mental condition bearing on the issue of guilt. Guilt of what? So you felt guilty, and because you felt guilty, you victimized more people? I don't get it. The court papers also say the prosecutors want the defense to give proper notice by offering any evidence of the effects of drugs and alcohol on a defendant's memory or cognitive function, hinting on the possibility that Combs was under the influence during the alleged crimes committed. Well, he would still be responsible, right? When you are under the influence of alcohol and you get into an accident, it is called a DUI, or sorry, a DWI, driving while intoxicated. If you happen to unalive someone, say in an accident, you don't just get to say, well, blame it on the alcohol, right? you are still responsible for what you've done. I think it would be considered involuntary manslaughter. So it doesn't mean that he's going to get away with these crimes. Diddy might be thinking that he's going to say sayonara to the prison that he is currently in. And of course, he will move from there, the county jail, to an actual prison. But he might be thinking that he's going to say goodbye to prison bars altogether. But that is just not going to be the case. They're going to have a really hard time trying to explain how he's able to do all these other things. He's able to contact his family and put together Instagram videos to see how his children are doing. He's able to dance and look at all the things that he has accomplished in spite of. And that's the thing. A lot of us focused on the clothing line, the alcohol deal, the music, the artists that he was producing and managing and so forth. We looked at all of that. I mean, he's like in everybody's music video, from Mary J. Blige to Rihanna and so forth. So that kind of was like a smokescreen for what was really going on. So he was able to do all that cognitively, but when it came to his behavior with women and with men, he couldn't control himself. Okay, not buying that. But the doctor's potential testimony being used as evidence will discuss the defendant's inability to control his behavior. Well, it's called not drinking and smoking and doing drugs. However, despite the testimony, prosecutors aren't worried that, as they believe that Diddy was in the right frame of mind, or actually, what they're saying is that whether he was in the right frame of mind or not, again, just as I said, doesn't matter. As the doctor never examined the music star. Okay, so he hasn't been examined by a doctor yet. Okay. So a doctor is going to testify, but he has never examined Diddy. Is that what this is saying? Okay, prosecutors aren't worried as they believe whether Combs was in the right frame of mind or not does not matter, as the doctor never examined the music star. Wow. So they're bringing in an expert to claim that he has zero control of his behavior and diminished cognitive ability. Well, you know what? Maybe Diddy needs to be in the same facility that Wendy Williams is in. Maybe he needs to be on the locked memory unit. Okay. He can be in a 12 by 12 box with a bed and a bathroom. Maybe that's what he needs. Maybe he can control himself then. Meanwhile, during a court appearance in New York City on Friday, April 25th, the prosecution attempted to convince the judge to allow them to present evidence showing Combs may have forced one of his alleged victims to go under the knife for a medical procedure. Interesting. I wonder if that medical procedure was to get rid of an unexpected, unplanned pregnancy. I'm just curious. Or was it to do with something cosmetic? A federal prosecutor explained to the judge this alleged procedure go directly to the degree of control Combs had over the unidentified victim, consent to specific actual acts. It's relevant to these questions on coercion. The prosecutor did not reveal the name of the victim, who allegedly was ordered by 55-year-old Diddy to undergo the procedure. While the defense may have a doctor testify on Combs' behalf, the entertainer's ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, will also take the stand for the prosecution. Sounds like the prosecution has all the cards. The singer, 38, was previously identified as victim one. Okay, that's Cassie in the indictment, but her identity was revealed as prosecutors announced she has chosen to forego testifying anonymously. In November 2023, Cassie Ventura accused Diddy of repeated physical abuse and being forced in a $30 million lawsuit. Combs settled the case a day after the lawsuit was filed. Footage later released showed Combs attacking Ventura at the Intercontinental Hotel in Century City, Los Angeles. Now, remember, this was months after he had denied any wrongdoing. Despite pushback by his legal team, the vile footage, which captured Diddy kicking and dragging Ventura through the hallway of the hotel, will be presented as evidence at his trial. Diddy, good luck getting a jury to overlook that and to agree that you have diminished mental capacity and that you can't control your actions. Because with all the partying videos partying with TD Jakes and all these actors and things like that, you can throw a whole party and get on planes and do all the things, but you can't control your behavior. You seem to be able to control your behavior when you're standing on a stage or in the audience at the VMA Awards. I'm just saying. Combs, in his defense, also claimed CNN had altered and destroyed the footage. Good luck trying to prove that, because remember, the burden of proof is on the defense. The defense is now trying to have a forensic video expert testify on the video, but the prosecution wants him blocked from the stand. This is going to be interesting. Again, Diddy is currently being held, at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn on federal trafficking and racketeering charges. His highly anticipated trial is scheduled to kick off Monday, the 5th. That is my daddy's birthday, my late daddy's birthday. May he rest in peace. he would have been, I think 80, 81. He would have been 81, I believe, this year. Yeah. Anyway, so it's going to kick off May 5th, 2025 in New York City. And that is when they're going to have the jury selection, and the trial is set to start on May 12th. And so if you are in the New York City area, and I don't know if they're, well, typically, even with high profile cases like this, they typically do allow people in the courtroom to watch. But if that's something you're interested in, I would suggest that you either contact the court or find out before you go down there to see if you can sit in and watch that. And I will certainly be following the trial and updating you all as information comes in. So thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already done so, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you on the next one. Thank you so much for watching. This is Wisdom's Daughter with Bad Girls Talk.
Just can't get enough of how it make you feel. Oh, I understand, but I can't be what you need. How many more lies do I have to throw till you pick these clues to tell you the truth?
You're listening to the Bad Girls Talk podcast. Subscribe, like, and share.